O my Lord, make me brave, and make my task easy for me.
Faith, step onto the cloud of Islam, and you will discover the light of Iman. Proclaim this message entrusted to you, and the cloud of Islam will carry you.
Crucifixion or crucifixion? You think, what is it? It is repeating the same word. How can it be or this? This fiction is something else from the F-I-X-I-O-N, fiction. This crucifixion is a fiction, that it didn't happen. The way the Christians claim, those things didn't happen. They haven't got a word in their language. Person going on the cross and going through the ordeal and not dying. Would you say he was crucified? No. What happened on the cross? There is no word in the English language. For that they're making a mockery of me. I said, I'll supply you the word. I said, what it is not crucifixion in inverted commas, it is crucifixion. These are fictions taking place. These are fairy tales. Zan. So now we reach that upper room in Jerusalem, where they're supposed to have had the Last Supper. While having the supper, he knew that this guy, Judas Iscariot, was in league with the temple authorities. He was going to betray. So Jesus tells him, go and get going with, do what you have planned to do, get it over with. And he tells his disciples, he says, you remember previously, I sent you out on your mission of preaching and healing. And when I sent you, I told you, when I sent you without purse, no extra purse, and scrip and shoes, lacked you anything? Did you lack anything? He says, no. They said nothing. Then said he unto them, but now, he that hath no purse, let him take it, and likewise his bag, and he that hath no sword, the one to cut people's throats, chop off people's necks. Sword, S-W-O-R-D, sword. Those who have no sword, let him sell his garments and buy one. Luke chapter 22, verses 35 and 36. Preparation, can you see? Preparation for war, for defense. That march had failed, and now trouble is brewing. In that upper room, there will be sitting targets for the Jew. So he takes his disciples in the middle of the night, midnight, and he walks them 5 miles out of town to a place called Gethsemane, an olive press, a courtyard, stone walls, and he puts 8 of his devoted disciples, these disciples who were beating their breast in that upper room. That, Master, anything happens to you, we are prepared to die for you. Master, we are prepared to go to prison for you. Determined lot. Armed to the capacity what the circumstances would allow. Armed to the teeth. And he puts 8 of his devoted disciples at the gate. He says, sit ye here while I go and pray yonder. I, alone, I'll go and pray beyond. You sit here at the gate. Watch with me. I said, watch what? What is there to watch in the middle of the night in Gethsemane, olive press? There's nothing there to watch. No, keep guard, because the Jews were after his blood. They'll be coming for him. So you keep guard here. 8 at the gate. And he takes with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, Peter the rock. And the 2 sons of Zebedee described as sons of thunder in the book, in the Bible. And he makes an inner line of defense. He says, and he took with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee. Then saith he unto them, tarry ye here and watch with me. Matthew chapter 26, verses 37 and 38. And he goes a little further and prays to God for help. And he goes a little further and falls on his face and prays to God. He said, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass away from me. meaning remove the difficulty from me, but not as I will, but as thou wilt. As a good Muslim, he submits his will to the will of God. If you want me to die, I don't mind, but oh my Lord, save me. We are told by Luke chapter 22 verse 44, and being in an agony, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was as if it were great drops of blood falling down to the ground. A man of God, a true man of God, a righteous servant of God, crying with such agony. You think the God of mercy wouldn't hearken to his prayer? When he said that you ask and ye shall receive, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. So whosoever asketh receiveth, and he that knocketh shall be opened unto him. He said, which man is there of you that if his son will ask for bread, he will give him a stone, or if he asks for fish, he will give him a snake? Is there? Father in heaven, the loving Father in heaven, would he do that? No. James, one of the fourth brother of Jesus Christ according to the Christians, James chapter 5 verse 16, he says, the effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. It carries weight. Some cynic remark that if you cry out like that, even the Lord of mercy, the Father in heaven, will come down from his throne to answer your call. You cry like that, bring him down from his throne. He must come to your aid. God accepts his prayers. Who, in the days of his flesh, means while he was here with us, he had offered up prayers and supplications with strong crying and tears unto him that was able to save him from death, and was heard in that he feared. He was heard, means God heard his prayers. What does it mean, God heard? Does it mean God is deaf at any time? He's all-hearing God. He hears everything. He hears the whispers. There were secret thoughts he hears. What does it mean, God heard? It means God accepted. Zechariah in his old age, he prayed for a son, and God heard his prayers, and John the Baptist, Yahya alayhi salam, was born. Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam in his old age prayed for a son, and Allah heard his prayers, and Ishmael was born. Ismail. You know what is Ismael? Means God heard. Literally it means in Hebrew, God heard. What? The prayer of Abraham materialized. Ishmael in Hebrew means God heard the prayer of Abraham. So, God Almighty answers his prayer. And there appeared an angel unto him from heaven, strengthening him. Luke chapter 22, verse 43. The angel came and strengthened him in the hope, the assurance that God Almighty will come to his rescue. But strange as it may sound, the turmoil that Jesus Christ is going through, the preparation he had made, 8 at the gate, in a line of defense, when he offers heart pourings to God, and when he returns, the guys are going to sleep. His disciples are going to sleep. Can you imagine? The people who are prepared to give their life for him, go to prison for him, they're going to sleep. So Jesus says, what? Could you not watch with me for 1 hour? 1 hour? Matthew chapter 26 verse 40. You can't wait with me, watch with me for 1 hour? I put you on guard. You know, if they were in the South African army, they would have been court-martialed, shot, a whole lot of them. Your master's life is in danger. The man is crying, sweating blood, and you go to sleep. And he goes and prays again, and he returns. They're going to sleep again and again. They want to know. Jesus says, now our friend Mark tells us, 1440, Mark says, they couldn't explain. The disciples couldn't explain why they were behaving like that. Neither knew they what to answer him. They didn't know what to answer him. What's wrong with you people? What is happening to you? My life is in danger. And you're going to sleep again and again. So Mark says, neither knew they what to answer him. What could they answer? What excuse could they give? And Luke 22:45 it says, and when Jesus rose from prayer and was come to his disciples. Now, Luke is a physician, a doctor, medical man of his time. Luke, he was not one of the 12. But he is now giving an excuse. What was happening? As a physician, we must listen to him. He says, and when he, Jesus, rose from prayer and was come to his disciples, and he found them sleeping for sorrow, for sorrow. That's a queer explanation. By God, I tell you, you ask any medical man, anybody knows anything about medicine, anything about physiology, about human body, you go and ask him, can you sleep for sorrow? Anybody, can you sleep for sorrow? When your father is dying, somebody says, I'm coming to burn your house, burn your father and mother down, and you sleep for sorrow. Can you sleep for sorrow? Nature, Allah Bari Ta'ala, the Creator, has given to us, every human being, that internal self-injecting hormone, adrenal, the adrenal gland. It secretes into the body a hormone. You can't sleep. Under trial, tribulation, turmoil, you can't sleep. Ask any lady, any woman. Her child is sick and she goes to sleep in sorrow. Her husband is dying and she sleeps in sorrow. Or the man can sleep in sorrow when his wife is dying. You sleep for sorrow. When the life of your hero, your master, is in danger, you sleep for sorrow. No, no. Poor Luke, he didn't know anything about medicine, what we know today. Had he known, he wouldn't have put that thing in. You see, the disciples of Jesus, that they had everything on the house. You know, means everything free. In that upper room, free food and free wine. When you eat too much and you drink too much, this is what happens. There is no other reason. You can't sleep for sorrow. You can't sleep for fear. The only time you can go to sleep when you are at your post in the army. If you have been eating too much and drinking too much, never mind what is happening around you. The bombs are falling, you can still go off. This is what had happened. They go to sleep. So when the Jews came with the Roman soldiers, they found them napping. Caught them napping, sleeping, literally. The Englishmen say with the pants down. They were caught with the pants down. The disciples, they were snoring away. And these guys with the Roman soldiers, they just stumbled over them and they go into the garden and they want to apprehend Jesus. So in the inner line of defense, Christ was very close to them, crying, wailing, talking to God. So they couldn't sleep. So one of them said, Master, Master, shall we smite them with the sword? So they had sword. We is more than one. They had swords. Where did they get them from? Jesus told them, you remember? Arm yourself. They were armed. What for? To defend themselves against the Jews. But the Jews were cleverer than what he thought. Look, after all, he's a human being. وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. They plan and you plan, but the best of planner is God. Jesus planned and the Jews planned. In this case, the Jews' plan was better than his. They came with Roman soldiers. An untrained disciple, no man, what spirit you have. You know, overeaten, drunk, and now comes along, you know, the Roman soldiers, trained men, and you're going to start putting up a fight? Peter did. He slashed the ear of one of the guards, and Jesus said, put down your sword. Now he said, put again the sword into its place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Matthew chapter 26, verse 52. Didn't he know that before? That who take up the sword shall perish by the sword. Didn't he know? Why did he tell them to arm? Why the change now? It's natural, natural. Once you get caught out, the good general, he throws in the towel. The British, in Singapore against the Japanese, 85,000 British, they threw down the sword, the guns. 85,000. The biggest surrender in the history of the British Empire. 85,000, they surrendered to the Japanese. 85,000. Can you imagine 85,000 soldiers with all the arms and ammunition, they surrender like women? No, no. Don't call them so. The wearer knows where the shoe pinches. The general knows. Better luck next time. Put down the sword. 250,000 British, they fled from Dunkirk, you remember? 250,000. Can you imagine 250,000? We can't. You have to see them. 250,000. Are they all women? No. Better luck next time. 30,000 Egyptians in 1973, they were surrounded by the Jews. Look, this happens. Again, at Tobruk, 100,000 Allied soldiers had to flee for their life. This man is a great thinker. You can see that now he's cornered. And if his disciples put up any resistance, each and every one would be wiped out. So he said, now look, put down your sword, because now he who lives by the sword shall die by the sword. As the situation changes, he was telling them to turn the other cheek. He was telling them, forgive 70 times 7. Then he says, now arm yourself. And you find that it didn't work. He said, now put down your sword. This is sensible man, sensible general, sensible officer doing the job. The Jews capture him and they take him before the Sanhedrin, the learned men of the Jews. And they bring false witnesses against him, one after another. And they can't tally in their evidence. Why? Because it's all false. They're making false charges against this messenger of God. And that fast, it's a fast. It's not a trial, it's a fast. It's a joke. So Jesus Christ couldn't tolerate it anymore. So he says, I spake openly to the world. No secret doctrines with him. Openly to the world. I ever taught in the temple and in the synagogue, whither the Jews always gather. In secret have I said nothing that you can implicate me. Nothing. I'll never preach anything in secret which I was not prepared to preach in public. In that case, you would have had hundreds of witnesses to testify against me. But you're getting witnesses and they're all false. They can't even tally in the concocted evidence. The argument that Jesus was putting forth was so potent that what are you trying to do? So the officer who was standing by slapped him in the face, shut him up, what they call the third degree. You know the third degree? Biko had it, Biko. Our Imam had it. Imam Abdullah Harun, third degree, you call it the third degree. You hit the fellow and hit the fellow till the poor man gives up. Third degree, so they slapped him in the face. Did that silence him? Ask our Christian brethren, did that silence him? No. He says, if I have spoken evil, bear witness of the evil. But if well, why smitest thou me? What are you hitting me for? Remember that. How he spoke back, defended himself against the Sanhedrin. That you people are concocting things, and this is very unfair, unjust, and now you're trying to apply the third degree, hitting me to silence me. What's wrong with you? Is this Jewish law, or any law, any sane law, civilized law, doing things like that? But they were intent on doing away with the man, because they had decided even beforehand that it was expedient that one man die for the nation. This man, young man, very enthusiastic, he's got a big following. He can create turmoil in the community, and in that case, there will be an insurrection, and the Romans will come back with a clamping down upon us and kill our Jews. Rather, we kill this one fellow and save the nation. So it is expedient, not right or wrong. It is expedient that one man die for the nation. They had already decided upon that, hook or by crook. So they said, art thou the Christ, the Son of the living God? And he was the Christ. He was the Messiah. Son of the living God. It was a very innocent Jewish expression. God has got sons by the tons in the Bible. At question time you may ask me and I'll give them to you, like that. Sons by the tons, T-O-N-S, tons, in the Bible. So he says, yes. So they says, now his blasphemy is made kufr. What need of we for any further evidence? And he start tearing his clothes. This is to demonstrate that, look, he's made kufr, blasphemy, kill him. But they had no power, they say. So they take him to the Roman governor next morning. When they take him there, they change the charge. See, they said, look, this guy, to them, internally, they said, look, this guy's blaspheming, making kufr. For that he deserves death. He is Christ, meaning God. Son of God, meaning God, which meant nothing like that. In the language, it didn't mean that. But if you are looking for trouble, you don't have to go very far. In any innocent expression, you can find faults. And they found that, right. But now they can't kill him, so they take him to Pilate, the Roman governor, and they can't tell him this man has made kufr, blasphemy, because to him it's joke. He had his man gods beyond counting. So another man, God of the Jews, so what? So they said, no, he's claiming to be Christ, a king. Now they change the word Christ to mean a king. To them, they say Christ means a God. It's kufr. Now to Pilate, he's claiming to be Christ, a king. So Pontius Pilate questions Jesus. He says, art thou the king of the Jews? Are you? Are you the king? He says, thou sayest. That's what you say. I didn't make any such claims. And when he's pressed further, he says, my koninkrijk is niet van hierdie wereld nie. My kingdom is not of this world. My koninkrijk is niet die hierdie wereld nie. In other words, mine is a spiritual kingdom. So to Pilate, he said, look, the guy may be mad. He's not right in his head, but he's not a danger to the state. So he comes forward and says, I find no fault in the man at all. He's innocent of what you people are charging him. He's an innocent man. So they say, if you let this man go, you are not a friend of Caesar. In other words, we will complain to Rome. Said, you allow people like this to carry on, and one day if he creates trouble, he said, look, you were warned. So Pilate is blackmailed into giving in to the Jews. But in his heart and mind, the man is innocent. He said, I find no fault in the man at all. His wife had seen a dream in which she was told that no harm should come to this just man. She had sent a message to her husband and said, look, don't do anything wrong with this man. He's a good man. On account of him, I have so many things happening to me. See to it. Pilate says he's innocent. But what is he to do? He's weak. Jesus said that the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Human beings are like that. We know where the right is, but sometimes we give in. So Pilate gave in. Now, our learned Christian brethren, the preachers, they tell us that Jesus was led to the slaughter like a lamb, like a sheep before the shearer is dumb. He opened not his mouth. He het se monde nie oop gemaak nie. He het se monde nie oop gemaak nie. He opened not his mouth. He opened not his mouth. I'm asking, how did he speak? Ask them. When they tell you he didn't open his mouth, he was led like a sheep before his shearer is dumb. Like a lamb, he's going to a follower, and they slaughtered him, and he didn't open his mouth. Ask them, how did he say, if I have spoken evil, bear witness of the evil. But if well, why smitest thou me? How did the words come out? From his head? Where did the words come from? He didn't open his mouth. Is the mouth shut? Was he a ventriloquist? You know ventriloquist? Charlie McCarthy and his doll. You know, he makes the doll to say something, but he's uttering voice from his throat, and we think is that doll is talking. Ventriloquism. Look, we believe that he gave life to the dead, Jesus Christ, by God's permission. He healed the blind and the lepers by God's permission. But I'm not prepared to believe that he was a ventriloquist. He was throwing his voice from underneath and, with his mouth closed, and he was making people to think that they're hearing voices coming from other side.